Rashid and his personal guard walked up the long, winding steps of the Tower of Judgment. The tallest building in the city of Althrian, the massive tower could be seen for miles past the city walls, a powerful symbol of the greatest city in the Harnian Desert. For atop this tower stood the God's Eye, a large room whose walls were covered with multiple windows. It might have been considered an ideal place for a leader to look upon his city, living in luxury as he gazed upon his domain. However, this room had another purpose. It was a place of punishment. A number of mirrors attached to the outside of the tower were pointed at the room, focusing the power of the desert sun into the circular cell at its center, turning the room into an oven and slowly burning the occupant alive. At least, that was the intention. The ogor imprisoned within it was being less than cooperative. The ogor, who called himself Nargrog, had first made his presence known several days ago. Appearing before the city gates as if from nowhere, he demanded to be let in, yelling out occasional curses and generally making a nuisance of himself. Seeing no other dangers in the area, they did, and immediately took him to the dungeon, questioning him for hours about his intentions. The ogor refused to answer, simply saying he would tell them when he was good and ready. Eventually, after the failure of all other means of torture, it was decided to bring him to the Tower of Judgment and let him know true hell. As Rashid climbed the final set of stairs and arrived at the God's Eye, he found himself less in a scorching hell and more in a rather cool retreat, a pleasant escape from the noonday sun. The strange, unnatural chill given off by the ogor counteracting the effects of the God's Eye, and as Rashid couldn't help but notice, the chill seemed to be winning. The ogor, trapped behind a circle of steel bars, greeted him warmly, a smile on his face as he waved at the commander.
Good day, Commander. You looking well? Lot of marching get done today?
Barely able to keep the irritation from his voice, Rashid refused to return the greeting, saying simply, "I was told you have something to say to me."
I do,
the ogre answered, seemingly nonplussed by Rashid's cold demeanor.
But first I have a question. Would you mind getting me another meal? The last one really hit the spot.
That last meal was a servant, Rashid said with disgust. One who obviously got too close when she came to give you your daily gruel.
Which was great, by the way. The gruel really helped wash her down,
the ogre replied with a chuckle. Do you have something to say or not? Rashid yelled, his patience running thin.
Alright, fine.
The ogre held his hands up apologetically.
Here's the truth, Commander. Something I've been hiding for a bit. I originally came here on a mission for my people. I was to sneak around your city, try to get a lay of the land and look for some weakness. We are coming by soon, and there's a lot of flesh in this large place of yours that could satisfy us for quite a bit. But after some thinking, I decided not to do it. I thought of something better, something that could really work out for me.
Rashid nodded his head. Self-interest was something he definitely understood. He had no doubt the ogre was planning to provide him information about his people for some benefit. Perhaps his choice of civilians to consume and a place to live within the city. Something Rashid was more than willing to provide, at least in the short term. And what, pray tell, Rashid said with a smile, would that better idea be?
Well,
the ogre continued,
I was never good at hiding. Not just because of my size, but also because I never had the patience for it. So I thought of an easier way to get what I need. Why don't I just walk up to the city, get captured, wait a few days, then call up the now confident commander of the city militia when it was time to enact my cunning plan, grabbing him and wringing out all the information I need about the city's defenses.
And as soon as those last words left his mouth, Nargrog bent the steel bars with a speed Rashid thought impossible for a creature of its size. Lunging forward, the ogre grabbed Rashid in one quick motion and kicked his surprised guard into the window, breaking the glass and consigning the guard to a lengthy and fatal fall. Despite the rapid change in circumstance, Rashid refused to let fear coat his voice, especially since he knew salvation was close at hand. Each set of stairs in the tower is full of my most experienced soldiers, he said proudly. Do you really think you can run out of here alive?
Run? Nah.
Nargrog replied, a smile growing on his massive lips.
I think it's more fun if I roll.
What? Rashid said with surprise, as the ogre held him close and jumped down the top flight of stairs. Nargrog became a rolling ball of muscle, flesh, and blood as he tore down the endless flight of stairs. Men and women who only moments before were rushing up to save their commander were running for their lives as a spear of death crushed them under its bulk. Until finally, the ogre found himself at the bottom floor of the tower. Dozens of soldiers either dead or broken on various flights of stairs above him. Although dizzy and more than a little hurt, Nargrog couldn't help but laugh. Not only did he spend a few days in a place where the natural cold that constantly surrounded him didn't hold sway, a rare treat for a Beastclaw Raider, but he had a chance to have a bit of fun before he had to get back to work.
Huh.
The ogre said joyfully.
That was a hell of a ride, wasn't it, Commander? Don't get to do that every day.
When no reply came, Nargrog looked down upon Rashid, or at least what was left of him. Where before was the commander of a powerful city, was now a crumpled mass of flesh and blood, stuck to Nargrog like dried glue on parchment. A far cry from the imposing figure who only moments before thought he was a master of his domain. Nargrog placed both of his bloody hands upon his face, cursing himself for forgetting the weaknesses of the human form. With the commander dead, Nargrog only had one choice. He had to find a way to open the gates of the city and allow his people to enter. Easier said than done, but he had no other plans. Still, the soldiers would be in disarray for a while, and he should be able to use it to his advantage. Plus, he might find some meat along the way. Whatever the outcome, he was sure it would be a fun fight in the end. The ogors of the Beastclaw Raiders are the mounted terrors of the mortal realms. Nomadic monsters, they roam on fur-clad beasts searching for their next meal. Always on the lookout for potential targets for their next raid. Like ogres of other clans, they are huge rotund humanoids with a talent for violence. Always looking for a good fight and an even better meal. Unlike other ogres, however, such as man-eaters who may wear the mask of civility and live among other races, the Beastclaw Raiders are as feral as the beasts they ride, moving in packs known as Alfrastons, and grazing the empires of the mortal realms for meat to feed their eternal hunger. Constantly on the Beast Riders' heels is the Everwinter, an eternal blizzard that follows in their wake, coating the lands they pass in a mountain of snow that may take centuries to eventually thaw. No one knows the true origins of the Everwinter. Some say it was a curse from Gorka Morka over a past slight. Others say it's the cold rage of Sigmar made manifest, and still others say it was a gift from eldritch entities for the Beastclaw Raiders releasing them from their prison. Whatever its true origins, the Beastclaw Raiders now see the Everwinter as a symbol of the power of their god Gorka Morka. When the storms strike their enemies, they see it as a sign of the god's favor. When it hampers their forces, it must be for a crime they must pay for with more meat and violence. But despite being a symbol of their god, it is also a powerful force the Beastclaw Raiders must always be wary of. For although the ogres cannot feel the cold temperatures of the Everwinter due to their large size and layers of fat, they can be frozen by it. The supernatural blizzard freezing the ogres solid and making them eternal statues with an ever-growing hunger that they can never sate. At least until a stray bit of magic, or a foolish mortal, makes the horrible mistake of freeing them. And woe be to any mortals in the path of a freed Beastclaw Raider, for they are never more ravenous when they must feed a hunger for flesh decades if not centuries in the making. To be a Beastclaw Raider is to be on a constant hunt for your next meal, to destroy your enemies in an orgy of violent feasting, and leave behind a brutal blizzard in your wake. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video about the Beastclaw Raiders, those mounted monstrous meat eaters. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and comment, and if you really like it, please consider giving to my Patreon. The extra money gives you the time I need to work on these stories I love. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.